Hello and welcome to Horrible Horror, where I put my life on the line for your entertainment. Today we're going to talk about a man who has gone completely unmentioned on this show thus far, which is actually a bit of a crime. If not so much for his efforts in the genre itself, then definitely in how much he actually changed the medium. This man is a bit of a commercially unsung hero, if you ask me. And that man is Roger Corman. Roger Corman, born in 1926, began making films in the mid-50s, where he managed to produce an incredible amount of films each year, always on time and always under the already low budgets. A lot of these early movies were schlocky monster films directed at the, as of then, almost unnoticed young adult audience. One of the films he's most famous for is the original Little Shop of Horrors from 1960, which was infamously shot in only 2 days and featured a young Jack Nicholson, and was later adapted into a musical, another film, and a cartoon.
Take me to the little shop. Alright, it's time for me to bust a rhyme, so sit back and chill for a while. I'm coming at ya like Toon style, so get ready for a funny bone overload.
It was through Corman that a lot of acclaimed filmmakers and actors, such as Nicholson and Martin Scorsese and James Cameron for instance, first got their chance, and he changed the world of independent cinema with his quick and cost-efficient style. Not all of his work is pure schlock though. He's behind the 60s Edgar Allan Poe adaptation starring Vincent Price, and in the 70s he tackled harsh subjects like racial separation and made fairly objective movies on stuff like LSD culture and the biker gang lifestyle. On top of all that, his company New World Pictures also functioned as a distribution company for some of the most important foreign art films that might not otherwise have seen a release in the US, from people such as Ingmar Bergman and Akira Kurosawa. And due to the success of his films, he even managed to influence the public view of genre films in general. Jaws was upon release described as a high-budget Roger Corman film, which is really not that inaccurate an observation. Today he is no longer directing, but he is still producing and now has 400 films on his resume. In a fair world, Corman would be swimming in awards, if not always for the objective quality of his films, then certainly for the important part he has played in shaping the industry and the genres within it and paving the way for new talents. Thankfully, he was finally properly awarded in 2009 when he received the Honorary Academy Award for, and I quote, his rich engendering of films and filmmakers. Now, there is a lot more to say about Roger Corman and his career and his life that I haven't said, and for those curious, I recommend either his autobiography, How I Made 100 Movies in Hollywood and Never Lost a Dime, or the recent documentary, Corman's World, The Exploits of a Hollywood Rebel. They are highly recommended and very, very fun. With all of this well-deserved praise said, however, and as charming and brilliant as a lot of his films are, his repertoire does have its fair share of less than fantastic films, some of which have showed up in Mystery Science Theater 3000, such as It Conquered the World. And who am I to let the hero worship of a man I truly do admire get in the way of poking a bit of good-natured fun at one of his movies? So, with all that said, we're taking a look at the first 60s black and white horror movie on this show, namely Creature from the Haunted Sea. The movie starts off right away with a bit of a spy drama as a man in possession of a seemingly important piece of paper is chased by a pair of gun-wielding men. Oh, by the way, drink Coke, please, drink some Coke, please! Our mysterious protagonist manages to shake his followers off so he can finally read his message. It tells him to meet someone at the Santo Domingo bar, and then he proceeds to eat what is without a doubt the crunchiest piece of paper I have ever heard.
I had to go to the Santo Domingo bar, and I had to find Agent XK-120, whom I'd never met.
So I put on the most suspicious looking disguise I could possibly find. He meets up with his contact and has a little conversation with her, which amusingly tells the viewer absolutely nothing, and we then cut to the intro credits, which appear to be made by one of the crew members' kids in arts and crafts. Okay, I must have puffed a couple magic dragons too many, because I swear I just saw a magic dragon puff by. I'm not even kidding! These little bits of cartoon and weird-ass music are the actual opening credits. And they're not just used for comedic effect either. They use the same cartoons to set up the plots, detailing that after the rebels liberated Cuba, the survivors of the old regime escaped with tons of Cuban loot and started a heavy smuggling operation based around secret meetings.
This story of robbery, double-cross, and murder begins with just such a meeting.
No, it apparently begins with a rejected black and white Schoolhouse Rock segment. So we cut to a meeting where a gangster named Renzo Capetto is hired to transport some of said loot by boat. The crew of said boat is infiltrated by our protagonist, who is Agent XK150, not that that matters because now he's posing as a gunman named Sparks Moran, and they all set off as he introduces us to everybody in narration.
During the war, he was rejected by the Navy, Marines, and the SS. Now deported, he has retained his contacts with the syndicate and is still regarded as a dangerous character.
This actually goes on for a couple of minutes, and you just gotta love how even the crew looks bored.
Renzo found him struggling along as a pickpocket at Jones Beach and took him with him in his exile. Since then, he has been Renzo's faithful servant, shining his shoes and rubbing out his enemies. In return, Renzo permits him to imitate any animal that comes into his head. That, for instance, was the mating call of a Himalayan yak.
Ah, shit! Did I accidentally rent Police Academy on the Seven Seas or something? No, wait, actually I take that back. Not even Michael Winslow would stoop so low as to make yak mating calls on a boat! What's he gonna do when a yak actually answers that? After a while, XK150, or Sparks Moran, overhears a meeting among the rest of the crew. They plan to kill the Cuban crew members and blame them on the sightings of a nearby sea monster in order to scare them into changing course so they can take the money for themselves. So Sparks, or XK150, then decides to keep an eye on them and keep this from happening. Later on, Capetto's girlfriend is approached by an amorous general and his translator, who doesn't exactly stay entirely truthful to the woman's insult.
Would you tell the general that I feel that he'd be most at home, barbecuing slowly over a hot spit?
Ella dice que mi general es un hombre muy digno y de gran empuje.
Kareish? Am I seeing that right? Is there a typo in the fucking subtitles? Ah, well, at least it's better than just giving up halfway through like in Mega Piranha. Why is it always the Spanish language that gets shafted like this? Well, anyway, that night the crew gets ready to set their grisly plan in motion and murder one of the crewmates. Oh, no! You're smothering him with a plunger? Oh, that's disgusting. And on taco night.
But what none of us knew was that the monster invented by Renzo had already been invented by somebody else. By a couple of other monsters, I guess.
Actually, to me he looks more like a guy who filled out a garbage can and is trying to get you to hose him off. Dude, come on man, hose me! It stinks so bad! So somehow their plan actually works. The generals that provided the Cuban workers order them to take a different course since they actually believe in the monster. Although there is some confusion among our pirates. After all, they were only supposed to kill one Cuban, and they thought they did. Agent XK150, or Sparks, whatever, listens on to find out that they're changing course for Bali, so he calls up another agent to set up a trap for them. Though this doesn't actually lead anywhere, and he does this second before they actually decide to go to Puerto Rico instead, so yeah, wonderful scene. You know, when you make Inspector Gadget look competent, it might be time to quit your job. What's that you say? The movie's not moving slowly enough? You're missing some padding? We can't have that! Sing, woman, sing!
I'll make you forget what you got on your mind. Oh, kiss my forehead So kiss him, baby. It'll make you forget the war. Remember somewhere. Hi there!
To you ladies of Spain. What?
Looking for some gold that was stole from the people of Cuba.
Oh, right. Right, sorry. So a bunch of guys show up looking for the stolen cargo and they go on board to search the ship. Agent XK-150 is suspicious and thus smacks one of them with a fish, which starts a shootout. And is that bitch still singing?
Hey, good work, Pete. Listen, we better check the boat and see if there are any others. Mary, brother, you can stop singing now. You have this terrific voice.
And a complete disregard for all human life except your own.
You could be a star.
Or at least a reality TV contestant.